I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. So you purchase your passport for $1, and then you have access to over 90 attractions throughout the community. Today, on June 2nd, they are free of charge to you. You can get stamps collected throughout the month of June. And when you get 10 stamps, you get enrolled in a special list of prizes. But if you get 15 or more stamps, you're eligible to win the prize of a $1,500 travel voucher to fly through Capital Region Airport, fly Lansing. So there's a lot of benefits, and there are a lot of special activities going on today only for Be a Tourist in Your Own Town. And you can also ride Cata all day for 50 cents.
Oh, is it fun to work for this?
It is. It is great fun to work for. I happen to work for the Greater Lansing Convention and Visitors Bureau, but one of the best things that we see come of this event is how the Lansing residents say, wow, I had no idea there was this much to do in Greater Lansing. And then they want to share with their family and friends, and they all come in to visit.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Hello world, it's another edition of What's the Haps Lansing. It's Metro Melik, People's Champ here, and wearing this shirt on purpose. This is the Jive 17 brand, which might be on hiatus, but I figured this was a kind of importance to show camaraderie, community, companionship, coming together, working for positive things. Lansing cuddles harder. And one of the most positive persons in this area, not only because of her job business, but her as a person, is Julie Pingston. The newly, we're going to say that for probably a whole year.
Yeah,
newly,
let's say that for as long as we can. This year doesn't count.
The newly, is it an appointment or an appointed president of the Greater Lansing Convention and Visitors Bureau? Julie, thank you for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's going to be fun, right?
Yes, it's going to be fun, but as I was waking up and preparing for today, I said, I need to wear something special to recognize some of the things that have happened in your world and speak on it, at least acknowledge the fact that a colleague in your world, a family member, I would say, in your world, recently passed, and I wanted to give acknowledgement to that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Christina Kaufman was a 14-year team member with us, but like you said, she was family. We were family to her, and she passed away from a cardiac issue on Halloween, and so it's been very difficult for the organization. She was someone who was a shining star for the community. She loved this community. She loved Christmas. And those all converged quite frequently when we had her represent our organization in the Silver Bells Electric Parade or Lighted Parade. And so she dressed up like a tree because that's just what she was. She didn't want to just walk along with a Santa hat and wave at people. She wanted to be in the parade, be engaged, be part of what was happening. And yeah, a huge loss for our organization and in the community as well. She volunteered everywhere she went and was very willing to give of her time and talent for anything that came up for this community.
And always a smile.
Always a smile. Huge
Always.
Smile. Huge smile.
And it didn't matter time of day, what time of year it was, always a smile. That's one of the things I remember, especially when I was more out traveling around, would stop by and it was always be a smile. And that was very admirable. So acknowledgement
Thank you
to
for
that.
for bringing that up. We appreciate it.
So with that, you talked about kind of briefly, or as the overview with Christina about the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I would like that to be explained. Like, how would you define that? Because I think a lot of us see it. We see it when we go to other places, and when we say see it, we're like, oh, that's that name again for
Right.
Los Angeles or Dallas or wherever. what does that really mean?
Who are we? What do we do behind those closed doors? That's a great point. And actually, when I do go out and speak about the Convention and Visitors Bureau, that's one of my first points, is that most people in the community really don't know who we are, because a lot of the work that we do is outside of the community. We do most of our marketing and advertising to those that don't live here to bring them to our community and experience all the wonderful things. But because we do that in such a all-encompassing way for the entire region, we really are able to also promote within the community. Like community members follow what we do, because it's the same information. If I'm coming here from Texas, the things that I want to do as a visitor are the same things that we want to do as residents that live here. So it's especially in the last couple years, and especially during the pandemic, it's really blurred of who we serve. We serve, the community now just as much as visitors, and getting our message to anybody. And frankly, our community members are really the ones that do a lot of the inviting. You invite your family and friends to come visit you or experience a festival or an event. And so we really do rely on our community to make the engagement with people that they know. At our organization, our board came up with a vision statement that I just absolutely love, and I think we can all embody, is that our vision as an organization is to inspire visitors and community partners to love Lansing as much as we do. And I think that shines. Like, we all have this passion for this community and who we are and what we represent and what we have to offer. So we love it. So how do we get everyone else to join us in that passion?
Love it with us.
Yeah, please. And then come here.
And then
when
come visit.
When it's safe. Yeah.
And then spend money.
Yeah. And I think when you look at tourism and hospitality in the world, you think of bigger cities, or even within Michigan, when you think of tourism, you think of Traverse City, going to the lakes, all of that. And here in our region, we welcome 5.2 million visitors. And every time I bring that up, people are stunned. Yeah, right?
What was that number?
5.2 million.
A year.
Yep. And
visitors to the Lansing region.
Right. And more importantly, what everyone should realize is they spend $682 million in our community. So that's new money. That's money we don't have.
$682 million. Very important.
Very important. If they don't come, which is right now, then that money is not coming into the community as new money. And so we're trying to still accomplish the same things with what we do here locally. So we need that money coming into the community, and that's why we work so hard to make that happen and keep that going and increase the numbers of events, conventions, sporting activities, everything that will bring people here.
So I would call you the attribute ambassadors. The attributes of this area, you are the ambassadors to that, to promote to other people, to get them to come here and say, hey, we have great things as well. It is great, might be different than another area, but we have these amenities.
Right.
So and that's what brings this in, and then that is industry, right?
Right. It's an industry.
That's industry, and that puts food in our communities' mouths, right?
Right.
If they're able to have the banquet and have those servers come out and do the thing, if they're able to have, hotel stays so that everybody that works in that hotel up and down. Well, I swore again. Ding! But there's a reason why, and that's because, I know we're cheerleaders for Lansing. When I say we, our entities or whatever, I need to know what you do, right? Because I see the value in it, and I see the importance in it, because 10 years ago, I'm scratching my head going, what is this Convention and Visitors Bureau thing?
Right.
And Lansing is a tourist attraction? Right? And then the more I thought about it, it is. We have two rivers, that converge. We have, Paul Brogan's Rivertown Adventures. I mean, I don't mind highlighting him over and over again.
Neither do we. We love what he does.
Because
absolutely.
Him and his partner were the only ones that did that on that space.
Took opportunity at the riverfront, absolutely.
Right.
That's what we need, is people to be creative and offer something new and different, so that there's just more to talk about and more to attract people. So and it's not just the things that we see, it's sport fields, it's banquet halls, it's convention space so that we can have all those different kinds of visitors. It's even what's happening at the Capitol right now, building Heritage Hall and making the Capitol more welcoming to big groups of school field trips and
I'm going to do a
bigger
P. Diddy drop on that. I recently got to fly over the Capitol in a helicopter and got a close-up look over above, and wow, that's vast. I mean, when you see it from the ground across, you go, oh, that's kind of big. But when you're up, you're like, oh, they're doing a lot, right? So I'm so looking forward to be able to see a visitor's entrance. Because, you know, I'm sure you've seen...
they get dropped off at the curbside, basically, and they're trying to corral 50 fourth graders or
Well, even when a family tries to come up and you see that sign that says, this is not an entrance, where the big steps are, and then we go, and I, you know, there's so often I'm like...
You got to go around the side of the steps.
Around the corner.
Yeah.
And they're like,
going
what?
This
but
way.
There's a big stairway around the corner.
Yeah.
So it's those kind of things that makes it... And I don't want to say more inviting to diminish the fact that it's inviting, but to make it an easy access and an inviting thing to be able to say, hey, come here, make it happen. Don't get dropped off over here, figure out how to park, and then, you know, don't go through the front door. Now there's an entrance.
An entrance for our visitors.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the people's building, so we should be able to access it and get in it as easy as possible. And
yes,
you know, we see a lot of senior groups that come in, and that walk is a little bit longer. So now it'll be a shorter walk with the new entryway, and it's all those things coming together that really help us present all of the great assets of a destination put together. Like we get to be the lucky ones to put it all together and say, if you're looking for this, we have this, but if you're looking for that, check over here. That's the really great thing about our community is we have so many varied things that people can experience, from culture and dining and everything that's local. So that's, I think, what we get charged up about every day is just, oh, now somebody wants to know more about, you know, finding out about ancestry, and the Michigan History Center and Archives is one of the premier sites in the country for that. So how do we get more messages out about that?
I find it so interesting that so many people have this large gap of, oh yeah, I remember I went to that in grade school, and then you're like, but you never went back, right? And then they find out how cool it is as an adult, and they're like, why, I should have been doing that. So anyway, let's get to know you though.
Oh, okay.
Like how does one become president of the Convention and Visitors Bureau in Greater Lansing?
Perseverance, I guess. So.
Born and raised in Lansing? Or
not at all.
Not at all. So these are good stories. Transplant from where?
Let me go back a little bit. I'm from the Metro Detroit area. It's called Clawson. Borders Troy, Royal Oak, and Birmingham, but really small town.
West side of Detroit?
North of Detroit.
North of
Detroit?
Detroit?
About 20 miles. Yep.
Yeah.
So grew up there, went to sporting my Alma College tartan here. So went to Alma College, just up the road from Lansing, and
what
loved
was your goal
it.
there?
I was going to go into international business, and then I took economics and said I do not want to go into international business, and then. But I did really like...
I remember that class.
Yeah, not good. That's why they weed people out. I was one of those.
Look, 500 and now 20.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, not at Alma. But
or 20, now 10.
Now 10, yeah, exactly. But I loved the political science classes I was in. So was a poli-sci major, and through programs at Alma, which I will advocate for every day, I spent my entire junior year away from Alma, and I spent a semester in Washington, D.C., and I spent a semester in Spain. So really was able to get a variety of interests, and I was going to then be in international relations, and I graduated, and I moved to Washington, D.C., and where I'd had an internship, they hired me at the Department of Commerce and in travel and tourism.
Whoa.
There was a small agency that marketed the United States internationally. So I was pretty cool with that job. I thought, all right, this is a perfect fit for everything. That it wasn't like politics where you're working with all the spin and all the ways that deals get done. It was just truly...
What a very political statement of way of saying that.
I know, right? I was part of it for a while.
Very diplomatic.
I was part of it for a little while, so I can try to say that nicely. But yeah, and so I worked there for about 3 years, had a great time promoting and being a part of that international promotion and working nationally and getting to know a lot of great people.
That's amazing. Like, you think about it, and like, I'm connecting the dots with here, but you're like, somebody promotes the USA too. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
boom, mind boggle.
Yeah. It's
Thank
a little
you.
bit different now from when I was there, but yeah, there's US, it's got a new name, but it's definitely still exists, that you still have to get the word out. And we did a lot of work with visa and entry into the country and having foreign exchange kind of relations and making sure visas were done. So a little more of the politics of it too, and the tediousness of it. So then I moved back here to Michigan, and because I got married, so came back to Michigan, and because we had thought I could stay there. I really did like my job, but thought in the end, family was here, we wanted to be here. So I was looking for jobs in Metro Detroit, and my husband is from DeWitt, so somewhere where we were trying to find in the middle or whatever, and I got hired by the Greater Lansing Convention and Visitors Bureau 28 years ago, in January actually, and so I started out, we had 9 people, and now we have 28 pre-pandemic, but we're a little bit lower than that right now, obviously. So was able to just grow with the organization and stay with it.
What was your first gig at the...
Oh, I was a convention services manager, so I took care of all the convention groups that come to town and just help them plan here, find local resources, find our logistical support to plan their event here and serve as their liaison. So a lot of the things that we did help them have successful events here and come back. So that was part of it. My job was to help all these groups want to come back to Lansing for another meeting. So did that for a while and just worked my way up, became chief operating officer for a number of years, and then put my name in the hat when our former CEO retired, and I was chosen. It was...
Well, no wonder you were so verklempt when that
I had some background,
came through.
I had some background. And then I started on March 11th, so, it was a great day when Michigan State closed. The governor asked that no one gather, and, then it just went down from there. But I think, like you were just saying, like, if it wasn't me, then I think I had the right relationships in the community, the right background, and if it had been a stranger that had come into that role and been hired, it would have been a whole different situation internally and how we work externally. So it was just the right timing and the right place to be. So,
well, bless you for seeing all the positives in that, and I think that is...
Yeah, I do get accused, even especially right now during all of the hardship to our industry, because we have, no one's traveling, no one's gathering, no one's meeting. So our industry's taken huge hits. But I do get accused of being too cheery and too optimistic, because if you're not, then, what's the alternative? So we just try to keep being positive, promoting what we have to who we have that's listening at this moment, and knowing that we get beyond that at some point, and still keep coming out strong when that time is upon us.
Well, there's still things happening, right? And there's certain things happening. So, like, even like you were saying, you're talking to our people almost as much as you're talking to the outside. And so let's throw Brogan up in the air, Rivertown Adventures up in the air. There's a lot of people that don't know that it's really cool to take a little boat and kind of float around and see the city from a different angle.
Yeah, we brought the PBS show Under the Radar, which has a statewide Michigan travel audience, and they came in and did a spot, and that was through us. Like, we orchestrated that and made that happen, but they featured Rivertown. I think they went to Cosmos, and they went to the zoo. So the zoo's been a big benefit of all this outdoorness.
Well, okay, let's talk about that for a brief second. So that kind of shows like a microcosm. I know it's a big deal, but like sometimes even myself wonder, like, well, how did that show get to that place and talk to those people? Like, how does that happen? Did they throw a dart?
Nope.
Whatever. So you're advocating, right?
We advocate, and actually in some instances we actually then subsidize. We pay for some of that to happen. The Food Network coming in with the diners, drive-ins, and dives, we brought them in, and Guy Fieri. We didn't say where he went, but Guy Fieri came to town because we did a promotion with the state travel office to bring him to our community, along with some others. So, but it wasn't free. So
And so, but I think it's important for people to realize that, because a lot of the time, okay, let me rephrase this. There's situations where somebody goes, why is this tax on this bill? I'm already paying X, and then I have CVP line when I stay here.
Yeah.
But that money
goes to that.
And so, like, if we don't, I'm so glad you did the
that's
show.
a lot
like,
of people,
I'm learning more stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that that's how we're funded. It is through a line item tax or assessment on your hotel stays, and that's just not here in Lansing. It's not just in Michigan. That is nationwide. You see that, and some of them are a lot higher than what we have here for sure. But those monies,
I've seen some 9-10%.
yeah, those always go to some kind of destination marketing to do just those things, to bring more people and to enhance more of what we do. So, and it's not assessed on us as residents, it's on people coming here, so it supports what they experienced and what they did. So yeah, that's how we get funded. And again, right now, that's not the mechanism that's foolproof right now, but hopefully people start visiting hotels again and join in that. So that's, I think, the hardest part is knowing that, when is that going to change? So for us, for budgeting and planning, and we want to do so much. There's so many great ideas, but we'll just take baby steps until we can then address the financial piece and come out swinging when it's time.
Well, I mean, it's always a good idea to have the plan. It's always a good idea to remain positive. Like, you have your hiccups and you have to address them. But, like you said, if you don't, you kind of end up in another place, and it's kind of hard to get out of that. So I applaud you. So that was cool. You did a little bit of traveling. You've got some world experience going on, and then you decided as a family to make Lansing your home. So, let's put you on the spot again. What are some of the things that you just love about this community?
That's a great question. It's so much. I mean, obviously there's the tangible things. My favorite thing to look at is the state capitol building. I can be parked in front of my office on Michigan Avenue, look in my rear view mirror and see the capitol in it, and that just always makes me stop and look at it and stare at it, because I just love that building. I love going in it. As a poli-sci major, I love what it represents, obviously. But then it's just more of all the spirit of people and talking about. Yesterday I was in a conversation about our ancestral legacies here related to Native American culture and how that really needs to be elevated more. And then when you look at things happening at Michigan State University on the front lines of COVID research. So I think a lot of people would think that we would be more like all the things to do, kayaking, dining, all these things, which we do, but we're trying to also represent who we are as a community from history and heritage and diversity and all that we offer that way too. And that's where we get to build a bigger picture. And I think my favorite saying is that I get to go to work every day because I love what I do. And so, but it's this community that keeps changing and evolving that allows for that, where if we were a community that we had the same thing we had 20 years ago, it might not be as exciting to do what I like to do. So, So yeah, I think the great opportunities we've had lately with our local dining, we've had so many cool restaurants come about, and they're unique and have great new things to offer. I love some of that. And
Social Sloth.
Yeah, I have not been there yet. I've got to get there.
What is wrong with
you? I know.
They're so nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They came here and just was like, we're gonna. What's her saying? When people ask, because I can't remember where they're from, but when people ask why they came here, she's like, why not here?
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, right.
Well, and that's the best part of talking to many of the local business owners is hearing their stories. I know Kathy from Absolute Gallery in Old Town. I mean, she gives me more information about the visitors that come through her shop, and they're from all over the world. I'll go in there and she said, Julie, you just missed a couple. They were here from Germany. It's like, what? Who would have thought? Find this little tiny shop in Old Town, Lansing, Michigan, and they found it and came here, and I think that's what's fun about the tourism piece is that the visitors that come here just look like us a lot of times. Is they blend in. If it's a soccer team eating at a restaurant, they could be from Hazlitt or they could be from Ohio. And so I think that's what we all forget, is that the visitors that come here, they just are people enjoying what we enjoy. And so how can they stand out? They, where you go to maybe like Traverse City or somewhere like that, that's like, okay, they do look like tourists because they're walking around like this. And, we have the whole Disney World, they definitely stand out there.
Right.
But here, it's kind of a blend, and I like that.
Yeah, that is cool. So if somebody wanted to be involved, because we're going to go back to that whole thing about you're here and promoting out to there, but if someone's here and say, you know what, I want to be more a part of what this is, what this organization is, how can they do that?
So I think one of the great ways is, we started off talking about Christina and our colleague, and she ran at the time our Certified Tourism Ambassador program, which the mission of that is to, the people that take that course and become involved in the program, they want to just help visitors enjoy the community as much as we do. So a lot of our frontline people at all of our attractions and restaurants and hotels, but also realtors and people who work at Sparrow, because when someone, comes in to visit their grandmother at the hospital, they might be from Ohio and they're visiting and they're staying at our hotels and need places to eat. So we help educate all of those type of folks that interact with our visitors, which is you and me as well. When you're walking down the street and someone says, how do I find the Capitol? Like, right there, it's pretty big, but it just happened. But anyway, so that program, Certified Tourism Ambassador program, is a great way to connect with our industry and become an ambassador for it. And also, normally we would provide networking opportunities so people can connect with other business owners in the industry or other residents or other just people who want to do good for the community. So that's one of our great ways. We also annually do Be a Tourist in Your Town, which was voted Best Festival this year. So we're excited for that, even though we didn't host it because nobody hosted a festival this year. But so that's a great way. We love volunteers for that event or come out for that event. We're trying to figure out what that looks like for this coming June and what we're going to do and how we're going to be able to execute something in that time frame. So those are kind of two ways to connect with us. All of our information and things that we do is on lansing.org. And I think the exciting thing is we're blowing that up, the website, and coming out with a new one. We'd actually paid for it at the end of last year, so now we're about ready to continue the development of it, and we put it on pause for a little bit, but now we'll come out hopefully end of the year or so, into early next year, and have a whole new site, and that'll be a great way to also start 2021, that hopefully we start.
You're going to get even a better site? Because your site's pretty good.
Yeah, we're getting even a better site.
I've seen some site transitions on your, on that URL, and I've been impressed. I mean, not that you need my endorsement, but it's really good.
It's got a lot in there. So
yeah, and it's easy to find. It's bright. Easy. It's colorful. You use videos, and you have the calendar that people can use when things are happening.
Yep.
So I need to say thank you for not only for being here, but thank you for partnering with Lansing Made and supporting that as well. Very much appreciate that. I know sometimes that thank yous get lost in the. I meant to send a card or an email. So
you did actually. I think you did both. Actually.
Well, I want to make sure. Well, it's important because I know every dollar counts. And I know relationship building counts, and I know that, supporting each other counts. And so to be a part of the mix, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, that's part of 517 Day, is kind of that synergy of what I was talking about, is bringing in community, because we love the 517, but people from outside could look at that and go, look at these people. They really love their community. They have a whole day for it. So happy to support, especially the 517 Day.
Bless you. Yeah. Thank you for that. And so with that, Madam President Julie Pingston, thank you very much for
Melik.
Bless you, and thank you. And that's another edition of What's the Haps Lansing. Thank you for tuning in. And please check out lansing.org. If you've never been there, check it out. Have a nice visit. And until next time, people, be good to each other. Say great things about Lansing.